Now, Meta, the company behind Facebook and Instagram, has announced it's cutting more than 11,000 jobs, 13% of its workforce. This is the first mass layoff in the firm's history. Meta chief executive Mark Zuckerberg blamed massive long-term expectations for growth based on the firm's rise in revenue during the pandemic. Well, joining me now to try and explain all that is Jake Moore, cybersecurity specialist at ESET. Thanks very much for coming on the programme.
Thank you.
So what do you make of these redundancies at Meta? It's a big number, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge number. And it's a strange time for Meta when we're hearing about all this investment in billions of dollars into the metaverse. But at the same time, we're seeing a layoff in Facebook. So it doesn't really match up in the terms of the big business. But of course, they've got to prioritize. They're seeing a huge change in Facebook, and we have to see them all individually: Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and the metaverse. And Facebook just isn't seeing the numbers that they were hoping to see with the huge competition that we're seeing with other social media, like TikTok, for example.
Now, they're big bet on the metaverse, which is something that most people don't use, don't know what it is, don't have any interest in. That's caused a lot of commentators to criticise this strategy and therefore blame Mark Zuckerberg. But if we look back, Mark Zuckerberg was behind Facebook before anyone knew what Facebook was, before anyone used it or cared about it, and he turned out to be right that time. Is there a chance that in the long term he's still right?
Well, times have changed, and you've got to look at it like it's a huge gamble. This is a lot of money that they're throwing into it. If they're looking at the current social media platforms that they have got hold of with Facebook and Instagram, they're not seeing the same return as they were hoping. So they've got to put more eggs into another basket. And yeah, Mark Zuckerberg thinks that the metaverse will hopefully be it. Now, some people are already involved in it, and some people are even making money in it already, but it's still a way off. It's a very strange virtual reality for the majority. And that's the thing. To make this work, you've got to get the majority of the public invested in it.
Is this the beginning of a trend now? We've seen layoffs at Twitter. We've seen layoffs at Meta. Do you think this is a beginning of a fundamental decline, or will these huge companies be back?
I'm sure they will bounce back, and they've got to do this. I mean, the global economic downturn, it's going to affect big businesses. And you look at Alphabet, which owns Google, and Amazon, they've slowed down their recruitment, even stopped it. But yeah, like you say, Twitter, Snap even, and Microsoft as well, they have had to make these redundancies. But that's because they've got to put their money into the areas that are going to future-proof them and make the money in the future. So unfortunately, they are having to make these cuts.
Jake Moore, thanks very much for coming on. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, back to our breaking news this hour. Russia's defence minister has ordered his troops to withdraw from the west bank of the Dnipro River in the face of Ukrainian attacks near the southern city of Kherson. It is an important development.